What is up, you guys? It is your boy, Phoenix Brenton here. Welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. And, yeah, this team is, like, one of the weirdest teams to talk about. Like, I feel like if the Cowboys themselves, if they had the roster like the Eagles, I don't think they would be complaining as much as, like, the Eagles have been, I guess. But, whatever. But before we get today's video, like and subscribe. We're on the road again, 700 subscribers. Also, I have a playlist of every single team in the NFL. If you guys do want, if you guys do want to comment down below of any team that you haven't seen in that playlist, let me know. And also, if they're not in that playlist, it's probably because I haven't recorded the video of that yet. But anyways, enough said. Let's get into the video. It's starting off with this team. We gotta talk about the AJ Brown trade. I mean, like, I think this was the smart move for them. Like, obviously they went and drafted Mekhi Lemon, which that kind of just confirmed it at that point. So, I do think that was definitely the right decision. Like, I think he's just a head case in my opinion, which I think is a smart move to just get rid of him. Also, that was not the only trade that they made during the offseason. Actually, in fact, they made 3, but we're only going to be talking about 2 of them. Yeah. So they also went and traded for Jonathan Greenland for 2 third-round picks, and I think that's a pretty fair trade for Philly. I think that's the smart decision to pull the trigger on something like that, especially when you went and lost Jalen Phillips during the offseason. So I think that was a good call. They also went and signed Marquise Brown, which I think was solid. They went and extended Dallas Goedert, which I think was a smart move. They also went and lost Reed Blankenship, which was kind of unfortunate for them, and Josh Uche as well. They kind of lost a lot of just depth players, which is kind of maybe not the greatest thing in the world. And then during the draft, they made a lot of interesting moves. Obviously, I think one of the most underrated moves that not a lot of people are talking about is Ura Burna out of Nigeria. If he pans out to be a decent player in the NFL, watch out. This man could be freaky. Like, he's like, what, 6'4", like 300 pounds or something, and he's faster than Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett. That's insane. But anyways, they also did went and draft Mekhi Lemon, who I think is a pretty solid receiver. Eli Stowers, so I think could be a good tight end for the future of the team. Markel Bell, just more depth in the trenches. Cole Payton, just depth at quarterback, really. So I think what the Eagles did during the offseason was very justified. I mean, to be honest with you, the Eagles have one of the best rosters in the league. I don't think that's really much of a question. Just kind of the whole debate right now is, can this offense click this year? Which I feel like it should. Also, by the way, I actually forgot to mention this. They also went and traded Dottavian Wicks, who I feel like is a very underrated receiver. I don't think a lot of people are specifically talking about him. He was in a very crowded Packers wide receiving room, and now he gets to a little bit of a less crowded receiving room in the Eagles. Granted, they have Elijah Moore, Hollywood Brown, but I just think he's probably going to beat them too, and that would put him at the 3rd receiver, which he was like the 4th or 5th one last year. So, like, this offense is still good. You got Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, a very good receiving core, Dallas Goedert, obviously a very solid offensive line with Lane Johnson, Tyler Sheard, Ken Jurgens, Landon Dickinson, and Jonah Mailata. And then also a good defense as well with Jalen Carter, arguably one of the best interior defensive linemen, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Jonathan Greenland, who you just traded for, Shahad Campbell, drafted last year, Zach Bond was also a good secondary that added Rick Woolen, by the way, to the group, while also having Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. The one thing that I will admit is a little bit skeptic and a little bit concerning is their safety room. Because now losing Reed Blankenship, you have Marcus Epps. Why is Cooper DeJean listed as a safety? That's weird. He's listed as a safety while also being starting nickel. That's interesting. While also having Andrew McCona. Is that how I would pronounce it? I'm sorry if I misinterpret your name, but that's probably like the only weaknesses I really get to see out of this entire team is the safety room. Outside of that, like this team is really good. Now it's just again, it's the matter of can this team do things because of their head coaching position and such like that. Because like that's kind of just been like one of the biggest concerns of this team for quite a while. And looking at the Eagles' schedule, they have a kind of an easy schedule, not including their division games. They have the Titans, they have the Bears, they do have the Rams, which is going to be a really tricky game. They have the Jaguars, they have the Panthers, they have the Steelers after the bye week on week 10. They have the Cardinals, they have the Colts, they have the Seahawks, they have the Texans, and the 49ers. So they have some rough games, but they also have some easy games as well, which I think is something you do have to mention when you're talking about this team. And I do think that this team can genuinely make a good playoff run. This is, again, will the matter of can this team just actually put all their pieces together? So starting off with their floor, I think they will split the series with the Commanders because I think the Commanders could probably be a little bit of a sneaky team if they stay healthy. Same thing with the Giants. I think they'll split the series with them, as well as the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're going to split the series with literally every team in their division in terms of their floor, not in terms of their ceiling. Let me just be perfectly clear with this. Okay, moving on. I do think you will beat the Titans on the road. I do think you will lose to the Bears on the road and the Rams at home. You will lose to Jacksonville in London. You will lose to the... I think you will lose to the Panthers at home. The only reason is because you have that London game right afterwards. So just, that's why. Then you have a bye week, obviously. I do think you will beat Pittsburgh in Philly. You will beat Arizona on the road. You will beat Indianapolis at home. But you will lose to Seattle at home. I think you could beat the Texans, though, at home. I think that's possible. And then you will also lose to the Niners on the road. Putting their floor at 7-10. Again, this is if everything goes wrong, which some of these games are a little skeptic, in my opinion, for them to lose. Then they have their ceiling. Obviously, I think they're actually just going to sweep their whole division. That is their ceiling, is that they will sweep every single game in their division. Which that might be a little controversial to some people, but I don't really think it is. I really don't think so. So also then with the non-division games, you will beat the Bears on the road. Obviously, all the wins that they have before count. You still will lose to the Rams, though, at home, I feel like. Just because of the coaching, I think, in my opinion, is way better in LA. You will beat Duval in London. You will beat Carolina at home. What the frick? Okay, that's weird. I do think then you will beat Seattle at home, and then I still think the Niners will also beat you on the road, putting their ceiling in 15-2. And I think this is pretty funny because I literally just made the Patriots video before making this one, and they have the exact same floor and the exact same ceiling as the Philadelphia Eagles. And I don't think they're really the same team because I feel like the Eagles definitely have a higher chance of winning a Super Bowl than the Patriots do because the Patriots just don't have as good as a roster, in my opinion, as like the Eagles do. Where it's like the Patriots, I have the problem with their most of the trench of their team, while the Eagles, I only really have maybe issues with their safety room. Which again, I don't really think a safety room is going to be that insanely important to this team. So there's that. But anyways, guys, I do really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.